Hello, my name is Axel Irby, and this is my set and character design for the Tempest. Starting off with my directorial concept, I focused mainly on the word overtaking, and the full statement is overtaking those we believe are below us. And I really tried to input that with the set that I chose, the time that I chose, the people I included, and even in the set design itself. So the two main players that we have here are the French colonizers and the Inuit people. So this is around the 1700s when this is set, and that shows mainly through the costumes that are chosen. And I chose the French colonizers and the Inuit people because I love that theme. Well, I don't love it because it's such an awful thing that happened, but I think it's really interesting, that idea of that, well, the fact that the French colonizers overtook these people and overtook their homes and treated them as less than, which is a very similar theme to the revenge and avenging that comes with the theme of the Tempest, overtaking those who we deem as below us and who we think we are better than. So that idea of supremacy and believing we're better than others, I feel like plays into this concept here. So the main thing that's definitely very noticeable right here in the front is a French ship. Below it, I have this illusion of it jutting into the ice that I painted, and it's just this front bit of the ship here, and behind it there is a platform for the people to stand on for scenes where they're coming in. And I've also purposefully left the ship removable, so for scenes where it's not needed, it can be taken out. And then the other very noticeable part back here is these ice mountains that I created. I covered them in a white shopping bag, so it had this crinkly effect that made it look like ice. And this could be achieved with like a white plastic tarp, or those what's the word, tablecloths that you put over tables for birthday parties, that kind of same material. And I painted them, and I strung these colorful lights in between them to make it look like the aurora borealis. And these colors could change with the mood of the play. They could lighten and darken for day and night. So that's the main light that was shined through in the play. And also, we have a little figurine of Miranda here, which is a smaller version of her design that I did for the costume design. So we'll move on to that. So the first costume design here is for Ariel, and his design is definitely the one I put the most thought into. So very clearly we see the influence of the Inuit people in his design. His outfit is actually based off of that of shamans, who were the primary speakers with the spirit world. Lots of fur. He has harp seal fur, which is primarily hunted by the Inuit people and used for lots of different purposes, but that's what his clothes are made out of. In his hand there, he has a rattle, and rattles were one of the main ways that shamans spoke with the spirit people. So I believe that rattle is also how Prospero gained control of Ariel, and him and the other servant Caliban both have these designs based off of animals. So he has a harp seal, which is a bit younger, more innocent, a bit more clever, trickstery, and then Caliban has a similar design with a walrus. So it has these huge tusks in his mask and looks a bit more monstrous and heavy and earthy. But yeah, so we have this color palette of browns, which is typical for those of the Inuit people. We also have detailed earrings, which is a big part of Inuit culture, making beautiful jewelry. And another thing I wanted to include was, because they are based off of animals, I looked into some Inuit myths, and one of the most common ones is about the mother of the sea creating all of the sea mammals and only allowing them to be hunted if they were respected. So that's why I chose a seal and a walrus. I kind of imagine the witch being this mother of the sea, and Ariel and Caliban being creations of that, and kind of representing that story a little bit. And one more thing I wanted to represent with Ariel here was a concept called two-spirit, which is in a lot of Native American cultures. It's the idea going beyond gender and being essentially both a man and a woman. And I feel like that's a very good choice for Ariel, because while he is described as primarily male, he is supposed to be androgynous, so I felt like he would really fit that concept of being two-spirit. And so that's his full design, and that's what his mask looks like from the front. And then the other design we have is of Miranda, and I wanted her to contrast kind of the darker colors of Ariel, the other spirits, and even some of the other characters like Prospero. I wanted her to look very light and very young, but I chose these warm colors so that way she wouldn't blend into the ice and snow. She would very much still stand out. And so her outfit is just based off of the fashion of the time, 1700s France. She's got a fur little shawl thing around her neck, as well as a muff that can't be seen very well, but she does have a muff that she keeps her hands in, so she is still warm. This fashion isn't very practical for the Arctic, but as colonizers, I didn't find them in any other outfits, so I believe this is what she would have been wearing no matter what. She has a hairstyle of the time. She looks very young. I wanted her to look her age, around her teenage years. And while her design didn't have as much thought put into it, I still feel like it's very fitting for the character and very fitting for the time and the color palette that I chose.